Hey guys. Hello, we're going to continue making neat little badges and neat little complex designs inside Adobe Illustrator using simple shapes and our Pathfinder tool. Let's go to create new, and I'm going to stick with my 1920 by 1080 canvas and create. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find my star tool. We haven't really done much with the star tool. Star tool is not just about adding stars. Let me real quick at my window and workspace and reset essentials here. The star tool has a lot of cool options here. For instance, I click on the star tool, I click once, and it gives me the option of defining both the number of points I have as well as the inner and outer radius. The inner radius is denoted by the radius 1. If I were to say, for instance, make radius 1 half the length of radius 2, you can see I've got this sort of star that looks kind of like a star burst, almost like an explosion, like a firecracker like this. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the stroke and fill it with like blue or something, because that's what I do. And I'll just move this over here for now. And if I use the star tool again and click once, maybe make the radius 1 almost the same as radius 2, say for instance, 4/5 or in this case 80%, I could just like take a look at this and sort of expand this out. We can see that like the sort of timbre, the atmosphere, the flavor of the shape is very, very different. We get a lot of energy happening over here, a little more calmness, a little less chaotic energy kind of going on over here. If I were to say, for instance, get my direct select tool and sort of grab the sort of curve nodes here and curve that in, we get what looks kind of like a gear over here. If I were to do the same thing on this one, maybe it looks more like a flower over here. I'm going to choose the flower for now. Obviously, you can choose the gear if you like, but I'm going to choose this, and you'll see why. You'll see what I'm kind of going for later on. And we're just going to use this, just adding another wrinkle to what we've already been doing with the Pathfinder tool. I'm going to get my ellipse tool. I'm going to draw a circle, and I'm going to change the color to, say, for instance, orange here. And I'm also going to go over here to my layers, and I have, you'll notice I have a blue layer, kind of indicator. So if I were to double click on this little image right here, I could change my light blue to, say, for instance, light red, something totally different, so I can see that a bit better. So now I can have this sort of red indication here. I want to make the inner circle that I just made here. I'm going to center this. I'm going to make that small enough to where I see a pretty solid, kind of showing of the blue, what was once a star and is now something different. And I'm going to just do my little thing that I do where I go to path, offset path, and I'm going to subtract this in maybe 10. Let's take a look and see how that looks. Yeah, 10's good. For now, this is about 600 pixels high, so, or wide. So that's something right there. I'll just change that color to, say, for instance, blue again, and I'll do the same thing. I'll go to Object, Offset Path, Offset Path, and I'll just pull this in. I'm going to pull this in 60, negative 60 here, and I'm going to add some text on this little ring that I've got here. So 60 looks about right, maybe 70, depending on how big your circle is. You just want something that you think could comfortably host some text on the inside here. We're going to draw some text, and we'll kind of revisit how we put text on a path later on. And then finally, I'm going to take this shape here, and I'm going to, I'll change this to, maybe say, for instance, green, and I'm going to go to Object, so I think I did 70 here, so I'm going to do shape or path, offset path, and I'm going to make this, say, for instance, outsized by another like maybe 30 or so. Let's take a look at this. I want this to be the sort of baseline for my text. Maybe 20 might be good. Alright, so that's okay, and I'll just take this, and I'm going to change this color to, say, for instance, pink, and I'm just going to grab this guy, and I'm just going to move him out of the way for now, and we'll come back to him later. Let's select all these guys here. Let's go ahead and do the exclude, so that way we've got our nice little punched out flower and gear. I'm going to change this back to a dark blue because it's more pleasant for me to look at. And we're going to add some texture to this. So let's go through here. Let's create a little starburst, and we're going to create something a little bit different. I'm going to create a rectangle here, and I'm going to go into this tool over here. Let's see if we can find it. I want to say it's the width tool. Maybe I'll just grab my pen tool real quick. Actually, I'll grab this. I'm going to grab this tool right here, my direct select tool. I'm going to just run up to the top here, And before I do anything else, let's just double check to make sure this is wider than the gear. So it's taller and wider than the gear. That's fantastic. And I'm going to go in real close, get my direct select tool, select all this. I'm going to go to Object, Path, Add Anchor Points. And it's going to add a little anchor point right there. And I'm going to click on this. I'm just going to delete this anchor point here. Actually, before I do anything else, I'm going to select on this anchor point here. And I'm going to grab over here on this anchor point. No, actually, that's good. Yeah, we'll keep it. We'll keep it going on. I'm going to just go ahead and delete this anchor point. Delete. Delete. Hello. Delete. Maybe instead of deleting it, what we can do is just grab them and sort of move them into this right there. Okay, cool. So now we have this sort of spine coming up from the center here. We'll do the same thing down at the very bottom. I'm using my I'm holding on my space bar while I drag this down. I could probably, just drag this in and join it right there to the point right there. So we've got this little curved, or this little spiny little thing that we've got going on here. So this is going to add some new little wrinkles to it, just to see what we can do with this. And I'm going to real quick grab my sort of flowery shape here that I've got, or your gear shape, and I'm just going to swivel this maybe 90 degrees so I can have my points on the top here, and these little two ones that are side by side, kind of have them off to the side. I'm going to change this color to, say, for instance, orange, something that's complementary, something that's easy to see. And I might make this just slightly bigger all around. I'm going to hold down the Alt key and the Shift key. Let me get my Move tool back. Alt key, Shift key. I'm just going to drag this out just slightly, just so I can make it just a little bit thicker. Maybe a little bit thicker here. And I'll just double check to make sure this is all centered still. Great, neat. Okay, so once again, we have 10 points. I want something that's going to be like a multiple of 10 when I divide it out across everything. So say, for instance, 360 degrees in a circle, if I were to want, say, for instance, 50 lines, I would have to divide 360 by 50, and that would be kind of complicated. How about 60? That would be 6 degrees, so 6 degrees, 60, so that's the whole idea is that I want one of these points to be passing through the center of each one of these points here. So I want something that's going to be divisible by 10. It could be say 10. It could be like, I wouldn't want 36 degrees, but I would want something in between here. So I want something kind of a ring here. So I'm going to go to Object. I'm going to go to Transform. I'm going to Rotate, and I'm going to rotate this 6 degrees. And I'll press Copy, and we'll just Control D until we go all the way around here. The reason why I want that is because I want there to be, oh. I done goofed. Here we go, once again. Object, Transform, Rotate, 6 degrees, and Control D until we get to the very end here. Oh, come on. Transform time. Object, Transform, Rotate, and Copy, and then we'll repeat. All right. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to do this is because I want to take all these ones from the center away to give a little indication that we've got some variety happening. A regular variety. Make sure you're aiming for the one that's in the very, very center of each one of these little petals, shall we say. And yeah, we got all that. And so I'm just going to click on one of these orange ones, hit Select, hit Same. Make sure there's nothing else that is the same color as these things. I'm going to say Same Fill Color, which is going to select all these orange guys, and I'm going to unite all those. And then with those selected, I'm going to hit the letter A on the keyboard, or grab my Direct Select tool. I'm going to hold down Shift and grab this outer petal, leave this one alone, and minus front. So you see what we've got going on here. We've got these little sort of kind of receding points here, very slight sort of inward tapering to the little gaps between them, giving it just a slight variation to what we were used to before. And we've got these fun little kind of keystone things in the center here, so it kind of gives it a little bit of variety to each one. I want to say I didn't do a good job. I didn't delete the right one right here, so I want to get rid of this one right here. Oops. All right, so that's right. Okay, once again, I'll just click on this, select, Same, Fill Color, and then A on the keyboard, and minus front. Hey, cool. Let's double check here. That looks good. I want to make sure that you've got this one right in the dead center there. Cool, awesome. All right, so I'm going to real quick grab my rectangle tool. I'm going to just draw a little rectangle right down at the center here. Well, not right down the center. I'm just going to have it hanging out right here. And I'm going to grab this. I might change this color to say pink for now. And I'll just pull this down a little bit down here and make this a little bit smaller. So I'm going to have and we'll just do the old Kansas City shuffle to the points here. I'm just going to grab this these two anchor points. I'm going to hit the left button or the right button on the arrow key. Let me count here. Why did I do this? I'll count. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, 10, 20, 30. Okay, cool. And we'll just click on these guys. Same deal as before. I'll just hold this down until I get roughly the same thing. Actually, I'll just duplicate this. Take this down. Shrink it down. Fun. Cool. All right, so we've got these guys here. Neat. All right, so I want these to have like, you know, text on them. So I'm just going to select all this, center this. I'll keep them kind of roughly where they're at. And I once again want to create a gap because I want this to all be one solid thing. I want to create a little gap here. Before I do this, I think there might be something easier we can do here. I think there might be something easier we can do than we did last time. I'm going to create a circle, shall we say, with my ellipse tool here. I'm going to create a circle. And it's going to be about the same size. I'm going to take away the fill. I'm going to add a stroke just for references for this point. And add a stroke for now. And what we'll do is we will drag this to the center here. We'll center this to this guy. And we'll just center these. Make sure this is the key object. Center this. And I'm going to get my scissors tool. And I'm just going to take a look-see here. I'm going to get my scissors tool. And make sure this is selected first. C on the keyboard, activate your scissors tool. Scissors, cut paths, and create little anchor points where the paths were. So I'm going to click right here, maybe. I'll click right here. And I'll click, so that's going to be there. And I'll click over. I might actually undo what I just did. Just judging, I'm going to judge where this, actually, let me go over here. I'm going to go over here to object path, offset path by about 10 pixels here, and just double check where this is going to land. Okay, I'm going to cut away all these different things. So to avoid having to select them one by one, I'm going to see if I can't unite them all. So I'm just going to click on this, and I'm just going to grab this guy here, cut that right there, make sure that's part of the same path here, and we'll have all this joined up right about here. I'll cut this away as well. And let me just real quick get my direct select tool, sort of move this to where it's going to be cut away from the rest of the path here. So that's neat. All right, I might actually even cut it back away here too. So that, and maybe right here as well. Yeah. Okay, right about here. Okay, so the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm going to take this path away. Get rid of that. And I'm going to get rid of this as well. I'm going to go ahead and grab this guy, go to Object, Path, Outline Stroke, and just unify it with this little guy here. All right, and so that way when I grab this outer path here and I just do little exclude, oh, no, maybe not exclude, how about this? How about I just grab this guy here and just bring it to the front, and this, what I can do in this case is make sure this is unified as well. Object, Path, Outline Stroke, unify that. These two here, and then what I can do is bring this bigger rectangle up to the front. I'll bring them both to the front here, and I'll just take this guy, and with my direct select tool, A on the keyboard, I'm going to select this black fan shape that's been unified with that little stroke. Shift again, and we'll just minus front. Okay, something went wrong. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, we'll have to do this Control C, Control F. So I'm going to grab this bigger shape here, Control C, Control F. I'll make this new shape, say for instance, you know, bluish. And I'm going to once again grab the outer shape, and I'll A on the keyboard, select this, and I'll just minus front. And then I'll grab this guy here, and I'll just A on the keyboard, minus front, with this, and let's see here, click on this, shift, click on this, try it again. And minus front. Okay, cool, we got that, all that. And I'll do the same thing here. Let me just real quick. Object, path, offset path by 10. A on the keyboard, grab this little guy here, minus front. Okay, cool, we got that little part cut out there. Okay. All right, same deal here. I'm gonna go to object, path, offset path by about 10 pixels. And I'm gonna have to make a couple copies of this. Control C, Control F, Control F. And I'm going to hold down the A, grab the A button here, and just grab this guy and just minus front. And I'll do the same thing here. Grab this guy, A on the keyboard. Minus front. Grab this guy here. And again. Make sure I can see this. Minus front. Okay, oops, one more time here. Object, path, offset path. This was going to take a little less time, but hey, you know. All right, and then Control C, Control F. Okay, on the keyboard, grab this, minus front, and then grab this guy here. And one more time. Okay. Minus front. Okay, and then we'll just grab all this and we'll just select all this here, and we'll just unify it all. And I'll change it back to blue. All right, so now we kind of get this little thing going on here. So we've got our little parallelogram here with our text and stuff. And I'm going to real quick go to my isolation mode. I'm going to grab this parallelogram here. I'm going to do the same thing we've done before. I'm going to go to Object, Offset Path. Yeah, Offset Path. It'll come in about 20 pixels. Negative 20 pixels here. Okay. And I'll come in another 10 pixels. Object, Path, Offset Path. Negative 10. Okay. And I'll just select these three here and exclude. And I'll do the same thing here, except for I won't go 20 pixels. I may go like 10 and then 5. So, Object, Path, Offset Path. So, minus 10. Cool. Object, Path, Offset Path, minus 5. Neat. And then we'll select all three of these, get real close. And then exclude. Alright, that's fun. Alright, so we got all that. And cool. Alright, so this will form essentially our, you know, little badge we got going here. So we got a couple things kind of happening just in terms of like having a little theme of like just having, you know, just sort of repeating kind of concentric shapes and stuff. So the last thing I'll do is I'm going to grab this guy here, you know, isolation mode here, and I'm just going to center him with this design here. I'll bring him up to the front. And I'm going to get my text tool. I'm going to hold down the Alt key, get it real close, and just Alt text here. Oops. Get the text tool here, Alt, and I'm going to click on top of this circle, all right, which is going to give me my little text here. And I'm going to, you know, and then you can just type whatever you want. So the whole idea is we're going to have a little message at the top here, and we'll just, you know, make that a bit bigger. Okay, make it a whole lot. No, that's the spacing here. A little bit bigger. Big enough. I'm going to change the font here to something like, I don't know, Bauhaus. That's cool. And I'm going to get it big enough to be the same distance from the top here. So I'm just like, I'm going to, and then maybe we'll, you know, space out the letters here slightly so they go across the entire thing. Okay, so that's about centered. And in this case, if at any point you need to pull this around, you can just rotate the whole circle. And that's going to rotate the words here. So, all right, and then I might just I don't know. Can I pull this back some? How's this? Okay. Oops. No, that's fine. How about I'm just gonna add a little star here. I'm just gonna add a little tiny 5-pointed star. I'll make this 5. And I'm just gonna make this little teeny. And just sort of rotate it around slightly. So it's hanging out there. And I'll just look at that. So you can, if your text takes up most of the space here, you don't have to do this. But I want something that's gonna add a little something to it. So here's this, and here's that. Let's make sure these are even. Neat. And then let's group them together. Make sure they're centered with this. All right, cool. And right, okay, so I'm going to grab this. I'm going to grab my text tool. I'm going to go type. I'm going to go to create outlines. And I'll just, once again, grab this guy here. I'm going to click once. I'm going to hit the A on the keyboard and hold down Shift, grab this guy, minus front. And I'm going to grab these two as well. And minus front. Okay, so that's cool. And then I'm going to type my little text down here. And we can choose a different font if we wanted to. I'll bring the tracking back to normal here. And maybe I'll choose a different font. Maybe Bison Bold. How about this? We could even... We choose no. All right. How about this? Cinematography, dope style. Yeah, that might be good. Okay. Make this not caps lock. All right, and then I'll just pull this down. Maybe make it a bit smaller. I wonder if this is going to work if I pull the tracking up. No, this won't really work. How about I choose something like Bison, maybe. Bison, Arista, that's fun. Grandmouth. Something that's going to take up the right amount of space. Maybe something that you can put like a little sort of a oblique edge to. This is nice. Alright, looks good. I'll just center this here to this guy. I'll center this to this box here with A on the keyboard. And I'll just center, whoops, make sure this is the key object, and then center this text. And let's get my text tool here. And we have a, nope, okay, well that's fine. And we'll just go to type, create outlines. Oh, here we go. Select type, create outlines, and then once again we'll just stamp this out. A on the keyboard just to select that one little parallelogram minus front, and then we'll go down here, and then the little text box here. I'll find something that'll fit inside here. So I think Bison might work. And we'll just type and then the little message here. Let's find Bison. I think Bison would fit. Yeah, Bison Bold. All right, and we'll just shrink this down some. All right, and so we'll just once again center all this, and so once again, you can just type whatever you want into these things here. The point isn't so much what the message is as far as like how it's going to be presented. And so with this, you're able to kind of like tell it with a certain amount of flair. Okay, that's nice. And And cool. All right, fun. I'll just select my text, and I'll go to text, or type rather, create outlines, and I'll just A on the keyboard, grab this, punch this out, and then right, maybe we can even like add something in the very center here, maybe like a, I don't know, maybe another 10-pointed star. Okay. We can just grab this guy here in the center. And I'll change this back to like maybe, you know, something different. Something in the center. It doesn't have to be a star. It could be anything you like. Let's grab this in the middle. And I will object path, offset path by 10. Okay. And then we'll just minus front. And I'll go down here. I'll go into isolation mode for this guy. Just get rid of this little thing here. Delete that. Alright, cool. And then, yeah, unite everything. We'll just unite it all. Cool. Hey, there's our little badge here. We got a fun little thing going on here. In fact, you know what? I am not done yet. I'm just gonna go back into the isolation mode here. I'm gonna grab this little guy here, and once again, object, path, offset path, -10. Object, path, offset path, -5. And we're just gonna go wild here, because why not? All right, sweet. Look at this. Look, we got this fun little thing here. And if you wanted to, at the very end of the day, just kind of go back to, you know, this, we can just shrink this down some. The great thing about making this into this little path is because, you know, it's got, you know, all kinds of texture and stuff. And hey, you know, before we go, we got to do our inverse. So let's get our little inverse going on here. Let's get this circle going on here. And okay, we'll just make a copy of this, Alt, drag this over here, make sure these guys are centered. And I want to say that this is going to be in, yeah, this is in front. So yeah, this is in front. So we'll want to make sure our, you know, we'll just have to do exclude here. And we got it. We got our little inverse. Sweet. All right. Well, this is a cool little badge. I think I like it. I like the all the different looks to it. I think what would be cool looking here is like you know, a maybe like a little grunge pattern on top of it all. We could do that in Photoshop later on or something like that. This looks cool on a little you know, sticker, or maybe on like the lapel of a T-shirt, something like that. This would be a fun little thing. This is a fun little badge here. So any little message you want that you want to put into here, this is a great way of getting your message across. Sweet. All right. Well, can't wait to see you guys produce, and I'll see you guys in class.